Due to illness, the roles of the nice guys on Business Today will be played by Wayne and Garth. We apologize for the inconvenience.
And you are talking about selling yourself. We're always selling ourselves, but in the beginning, you really are. The investment is you. So what you do is you ask. And you do have to be a little bit of a student of the game of how you ask, who you ask, when, where, what does it look like, how do you present yourself, all of that.
These two Mickey Mouse Club dropouts couldn't make it as an after-school special, so they turned to podcasting. Oh, lucky us. Ladies and gentlemen, the nice guys on business. Need an education on how to grow your business? The nice guys are here to help. Learn about great customer service, networking, and how just being nice can help you prosper. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
I'm not going to pressure you, though, by adding like a sponsor or anything, or even the Overcast recommendations onto the
We could do that.
The pile.
No big deal.
Okay, let's do them all then.
All right. Welcome back. Welcome back, Funkin' fans. It's Monday. My name is Strickland Bonner. On the other side of the microphone, Mr. Doug Sandler. We're actually here together in the same room at DC Podfest.
Actually, if you really want to get technical, we are in the closet.
Together. We're in the closet together.
We are in a closet. We asked if they had maybe just a quiet spot because they have conference sessions going on all over the area that we're in right now. And so they ushered us to what seems to be, I think it's a band closet because there's all sorts of equipment and speakers and...
Yeah, I'm going to break into song in a minute.
The sun will come out.
That's not the song that I'm thinking of. Okay, Randy, remember we had that poll of who's more gay, Doug or Randy? I think Doug just took it right there.
Somewhere over the rainbow.
Oh my God. It's so weird to have you here in the same room with me, Doug. I just can't.
Blue.
Are you done, Doug? Now you know why he was a DJ and not a singer. Yeah.
Oh man. You know, not only am I out of my pajamas. Well, don't get the wrong idea. I'm in clothes. I'm in clothes.
Out of your pajamas and we're in the closet.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So hold on a second. So we got a bunch of stuff. You know, normally we would save this for Tuesday and Thursday, but because we've gotten so many amazing messages, can we play a message from Jared?
You mean the reason that we're playing these now is not because we've already recorded our Tuesday and Thursday and forgot about it on the Thursday show?
Well, hold on a second, though. We had Monica on. This is Monday, right?
Yes.
Today's
Monica's going to be on Thursday.
So we have somebody that we've already recorded. That's Thursday's show. Well, we couldn't put it in there. Tuesday's show, we were chock full of voicemails. I didn't think it was appropriate at that point to play more than one voicemail from both Rick and Jared. So this is another Jared voicemail.
So what you're saying is we're doing these now because we've already recorded our Tuesday, Thursday shows and we didn't put them in there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad we got that straight. Thank you.
Well taken.
Go ahead.
Okay. Here we go. This is from Jared.
Hey, Strick. Doug. We need to have a heart-to-heart. Whether it's Insta stories, Twitter, Facebook Live. We'll take you wherever we can get you. But really, you're asking for us to do something and reach out to you?
Nope.
Come on, man. I'm just doing this because I love you guys, but you know we're really not going to call you and talk to you generally. Or reach out to you on Twitter.
Generally.
Come on. Let's get with the program. Oh, wait, it's Jared.
So I guess partly I got to go back to the whole thing. You know, Monica, who will be with us on Thursday, and shares, you know, a little bit of her 20 episode journey in her podcasting language, in her podcasting, steps along the way. She gets into the whole thing that she actually has 20 episodes, and she has people like reaching out to her. Now, I don't know what it is about our community that immobilizes you with either fear or what is it? What do you think it is, Strick?
So what you get out of that voicemail is, hey, how do we get people to be more engaged? You know what I get out of that?
What?
I think it's hilarious that Jared is calling us, telling us that we shouldn't ask him to call. Like, come on, guys, don't ask your Funkin' fans to call. You know we're not gonna call, okay?
Wait, so the irony is that
exactly that he's calling to tell us that nobody's gonna call.
That's true. Boy, you guys almost pulled something over on us. Wait, I just said almost 3 times.
Don't you have another voicemail on there?
I do, but I need a moment to pull it up. So
Rick's got a voicemail
you
too.
might have You might have to chat for just one quick second.
We do have an interview today. We're going to talk to Ben Leybovich.
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 Wait, it's too many. It's too many Viches.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a
It's a
minute.
Leybovich. Hold on, I'm ready. Here we go. I don't know. This is from Jared too, I think.
I'm 10 years old, but I'll beat your ass. Chip, I'm going to come at you like a nice guy on business.
Hold on. That's
What
Jared
was that?
doing voiceover work.
Oh, okay. What's he saying? I can't quite
Okay,
get
hold
it.
on a second. 10 years old Chip. I don't know. Is that a movie reference?
Might be. I'm not familiar
All right,
with
hold on. Wait, should I play it again so you hear it
I
again?
guess.
Okay, all right, here we go.
I'm 10 years old, but I'll beat your ass. Chip, I'm going to come at you like a nice guy on business.
All right, so I guess the question
it.
is...
It totally sounds like a movie reference, but I don't know what movie it
Okay,
is.
so the question is, what movie reference was that for?
I don't
So interesting. I don't really know. I don't know.
I don't either.
I mean, here's another movie reference then. Maybe we can tell who this one is.
Yeah, that's right. You better walk away. Go on. Walk away. Because I'm going to burn this motherfucker down. King Kong ain't got shit on me.
I don't know what that one is either. It sounds really familiar.
Wait, he's not done yet.
Oh, sorry.
He's not. Oh, we cut him off. I don't know how to.
You'll have to email that one to me and we'll put it at the beginning of the
Yeah.
episode. Maybe somebody else will know what it is. Maybe Tim, like Rain Man, Tim Hill.
Yeah, he's all over it.
Every movie reference I put out, even the obscure ones that I didn't think he'd get, like Real Genius, he got.
So Jared has left. I would have to say that those are, well, maybe he calls it King Kong.mp3. So I'm assuming it's from King Kong, the movie.
Maybe.
I don't
Didn't
know.
he say King Kong's got nothing on me? Maybe it's like the new King Kong and that's a line from Sam Jackson or something. I have no idea.
Okay. All right, cool.
No idea.
All right. Well, we have an interview today. It's Ben Leybovich, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Do you know the company that,
Just ask BenWhy.com.
that's his company name?
Yeah, well, that's his website. Yeah, and his company name.
All right. Well, why don't we get to the interview with Just Ask Ben and find out what he's all about?
He's also got a book, House Hacking.
Oh, he was really good.
We're going to talk more about this tomorrow, I think, about how we're going to start doing our intros. But why don't we just get to the interview with Ben? What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it. Right here. Ben Leybovich on the Nice Guys on Business. So heck yes, it's Ben Leybovich. It's Ben Leybovich Day actually on the Nice Guys, and just saying that word Leybovich makes me happy. I remember in the early days of Ask Jeeves, I think that was big when the dial-up was popular. Well, even better today because we have the founder of JustAskBenWhy.com. This is pretty cool. Ben has a great story coming to the U.S. from Russia in the mid-'80s, learning English from watching, I think, Taxi and Who's the Boss. Maybe it was a Tony Danza obsession. I'm not 100% sure, but here to share his amazing story and his superpowers with us. Welcome, Ben, to the Nice Guys on Business podcast.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be with you. Not sure about the superpowers, but happy to share what I got.
No, man, I'm reading your bio and I've done some research on you. I've checked out some of the who's who of the world that we're going to talk about today, and you are definitely it. I'm loving the fact that you learned English from Taxi and Who's the Boss and not Welcome Back, Kotter and Mork and Mindy though.
I really did. Tony Danza was the man, you know.
So you're about let's see, you were born in the 70s or 80s. I don't want to get your exact age, but I think you were somewhere in that area.
I'm 42 years
right?
old. I still look as good as I ever did, so I no problems there. 42 years old.
So did you have a crush on Angela from Who's the Boss or no? I think I think that was Tony's boss. I think that was the boss
Tony's
from Who's the Boss.
Yeah.
I'm
I have
pretty
a boss
sure.
now. It's kind of a parallel situation. Not as tall, equally beautiful, but yeah, that's a funny question.
And you're two kids.
I have
too,
two
right?
kids, twins, a boy and a girl, Aaron and Bella.
Oh, wow!
8
How old
years
are they? Oh my gosh! You have a lot of shit show coming up in the next few years, right?
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
You're all good, man. So can you share, before we kind of get into what you do, I want you to share a little bit of your journey, because everything that I'm reading about you, I keep thinking, how did you get over that hurdle? And how did you get over that hurdle? And how did you get over that hurdle? So share a little bit of your story. And I know you don't think you have superpowers, but me just reading your story leads me to believe that you have some superpowers that I'm loving. So share a little bit of your story and what you're all about.
I played violin since the age of 5. It was an interesting thing. My grandfather, a few years before passing away, got me a book. I couldn't read it at that point, but got me a book about a great Soviet at that time violinist, David Oistrakh, and put inside the cover to my grandson, the violinist. And so that was sealed. Okay. I was going to be the violinist, and I started playing at the age of 5, came to America in 1989, kept playing, attended University of Cincinnati Conservatory, which is where I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. My body went kind of nuts. My legs, my arms, my face froze up, my tongue, all kinds of crazy shit that you don't want to talk about, on the podcast. But, yeah, it was obviously, the rug got pulled out from underneath my feet. It took me a few years to figure it out. I'm not sure if I still figured it out. I'm like rolling out of bed every morning trying to figure it out. But the bottom line was that, when you're in a hospital bed and the doctor approaches you and he looks at those MRI pictures and he says, I don't want you to panic, but. So that's where I came from. Real estate just kind of happened because it was a logical thing to do. It was a logical, and I felt it was achievable thing to do. So, but I keep telling people, and I do a lot of podcasts, and everybody asks the same question because everybody has this erroneous, I think in my opinion, assumption that having something like this happen is a bad thing. On the surface, it is bad. I listened to your podcast with Rachel Kadanis, and it's a same idea, which Strickland said her name perfectly, and I'm looking forward to him saying mine because I know that.
I had to practice it, but we are both members of the same tribe, so for me, Leybovich comes kind of easily.
That's right.
Me.
So unfair advantage, but it's something good comes out of bad, and in my case. Honestly, I don't know if I had the strength to make the career change and to make the perspective change on life that I necessarily had to make had it not been for this MS diagnosis. It's a blessing and a curse, but it's a blessing because it forced me. That's like life punching you in the face and saying, listen, dude. So had it not been for that, I don't know where I'd be. I have many friends that are professional musicians that take up high positions with some of the leading orchestras in the world. And many of them, call me and say, listen, I'm taking a 3-year sabbatical. I can't take it anymore. Right. That kind of thing, So to me, and I keep trying to explain to people that to me, it was a blessing that it happened. It was a good thing because it pushed me in the direction I don't know if I had the strength to push myself in.
Well, it's kind of like you get the, what's the expression? You want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Right. And, so you becoming a professional musician, oftentimes when you have somebody, let's say that's a dancer that uses their body, their limbs, and they're only thinking dancing and they're in their 20s. That's great for your 20s, but there are not many professional dancers that make it to their 30s or their 40s as professional dancers. What is that plan B? And what was so great about what we were talking about before I hit the record button, we were talking about, I said, you always have to have a plan B. And then you made the best comment. What do you remember what comment you made?
C and D and E and however many plans, and the very interesting thing is that I think your audience is comprised of creative and talented individuals. That's why they listen to your podcast. That's what they associate with. And talented and creative individuals are notoriously unfocused because this is right? Yeah. We love life in its many versions. We like a lot of things. We get off on doing a lot of things. However, you read books like Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, or you read, Napoleon Hill, and you understand all of this one thingness and focus and what it takes. It's okay to be confused about that. I guess that's my message. It's every morning I roll out of bed, and what is one thing? It's like, do you know what I'm saying? I mean, Some people, it's so lucky and so fortunate when you are a dancer and that's all you love and that's all you want to do and you don't care about anything else. It's just like, go ahead.
All right, I got it. So make the connection though, because what's great about what you've done is you've taken this unfortunate diagnosis or fortunate diagnosis, either way that you look at it, with having MS, and make the connection though between that and where you decided to go within real estate, because that's the avenue that you approached. Now that it didn't have to be that way. It could have been investment banking. It could have been day trading. It could have been franchising. It could have been any number of things. Was there anything specific that pulled you into real estate, or was it, hey, this is all around me right now and people are doing this. Let me at least get involved.
It was a little bit of that, but basically I didn't have any money. So I needed to find, I was focused on the income, right? Let's start there. I was focused on the income because if I'm not going to play the fiddle to feed myself and feed my family, then, what's going to do it? I need the income. So right away, my focus was rentals because my intellectual worth would only allow me to go that far in real estate rentals. Now, why real estate in the first place? Well, because, in paper, you can make income, but it's difficult. It requires a lot of capital. There's very little leveraging. There is leveraging, but it looks differently. There's very little leveraging. I did not have any original ideas. I did not have a Facebook in my head. I'm not Elon Musk. I'm not, I'm not any of these people. And so real estate has just been,
right.
I'm just a schmuck.
Well, you're being kind because I think what you said in the original part, you said, I'm just a schmuck.
I'm just trying to figure out every day what I want to do and how I can do it. Yeah, it's real estate has been making money for people forever.
Right.
A lot of money, a little less money, whatever. But the thing is you can attract a lot of capital with real estate. You can, walk into a bank and borrow a lot of capital to purchase real estate. And so it just kind of seemed like a good fit. It kind of made sense to me in that, if you have the knowledge, you can probably pull some things off a lot easier than in a lot of other vehicles.
So you, what's great about where you're heading, and I think this is the direction that you're heading, because there's plenty of people that are listening today, as is listened to most podcasts and most radio that's out there, that are really labor rich but cash poor, meaning they don't have a lot of money to invest to get the first one going, but they need something, a vehicle in their life. So what do you say to the guy that has no money? Because it sounds like that's how you came into the situation, with very, very little cash. So how do you even get started when you have no money?
There's a fair amount of luck involved, and luck when you are first starting. For instance, if I'm raising money today, which I do, I am attracting serious people. They're looking at the investment opportunity. They're considering IRR. They're looking at all that stuff. They are evaluating me, but more so than me, they're evaluating the opportunity. When you're first starting and you're buying your first duplex, the person that's going to facilitate that for you is a person who has a relationship with you which says, I want to help this guy. I'm in his corner. I know the investment makes sense. I know he has no idea how to run it. He's smart. I've seen him do some other things in his other life. I'm going to play along. So you are not talking about sophisticated people, and you are talking about selling yourself. We're always selling ourselves, but in the beginning, you really are. The investment is you. So what you do is you ask. And you do have to be a little bit of a student of the game of how you ask, who you ask, when, where, what does it look like, how do you present yourself, all of that. You have to be a student of that game. You have to study. You have to have some intellectual worth. But at the end of the day, you are not going to get somebody who's got options of everything from IPO to investing in a gas well. You're not going to get that guy investing with you. You're going to get a guy who's been a friend, who's been an associate in another business, who knows you, trusts you, likes you, isn't necessarily opposed to making a little money with you and kind of jumping on your tails. And That's right.
So that's going to be it sounds like that is a part of your system, is probably your first guy or your first girl. You just need that leverage. If you're going to be cash poor coming into this, you need to have some connections and make them. Again, I'm paraphrasing what you're saying just to make sure I'm being pretty clear on this.
You're exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is why I listen to your guys' podcast, because most people want to talk about the high and lofty, how you need to visualize this transaction before it can happen. And you do.
Dude, I want to know, like, a guy that's bust, that's listening to this show, and there's plenty of them, believe me, and it's not because we have a poor audience, it's because most people out there are, they're digging around with a 500 and some odd credit score, and they're trying to figure out not where their next meal is coming from, but how they're going to make it next month. I know that because I oftentimes have been that guy. And I'm like, I'm a good guy, and I know I have the gift of gab, and I have the ability to talk to somebody. I just don't have $500,000 sitting in the bank thinking, oh my gosh, I have all this extra cash, I can put it into real estate. That would be great. I'm talking about the guy that's paying his bills every month, has an average or above average credit score, that has a wife, that they have a job, everything's cool, but they want to figure out what is the next step. And you're saying that,
What's important for them to understand is that in the world of real estate, you have transactionalists and you have an investor. Mm-hmm. If you don't have the money, you cannot be an investor. Mm-hmm. The classic definition of investing is investing your capital for the purposes of receiving a return. If you don't have capital, then what you're doing is transacting one way or the other. You're servicing this capital, which requires what? It requires knowledge.
Got it.
Thankfully, you can achieve knowledge without having a lot of capital, but you do need either capital or knowledge. And very few people have both, but you need both. So first thing people need to understand is it's okay not to have this capital.
Right, exactly.
Because it takes both.
Right. And in the beginning, it sounds like, okay, so we don't have any capital. You just have you, and you is going to be good enough to get started in this, but you have to be able to plug into a little bit of a system. So share a little bit about, now do you want to talk about just askbenwhy.com, or do you want to talk about your system a little bit? Because I'll go in either direction.
Just askbenwhy.com is just an umbrella platform. My gig is I help people with anything having to do with real estate. If you want to be an investor, I can do that. This latest project I did and the book I published called House Hacking is a version of real estate investing, which I'm very happy to talk about either or. But a real estate is a tool belt full of tools to solve problems. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, then you can't use one tool to solve each and every problem. So you create them and you have to know how to pick and do what. So Just Ask Ben Why is kind of an all-encompassing everything from syndication to buying your first single-family house, for a rental. You can talk whatever you think is most beneficial to
All right,
your
well,
audience.
let me ask this, because we've had many that have come on the show. We've had some guys that have come on the show and talking about raw land, the raw land system that they have, and we have some that come up and talk about building rental like a rental portfolio. Sure. What makes your system a little bit different different in general than these other systems? Or I get a sense that your system, a lot of it is built upon what you've been obviously on what you've been good at, but it's been built on you and not necessarily what that your skill set. It's built on you.
So my approach is, first of all, it's not a system. There's no such thing, I don't believe, as a system in real estate. Every transaction is different. Every buyer is different. Every seller is different. So I just don't see it as a system, first of all. Cool. Second of all, real estate has been around for a while. It hasn't been 100 years. It hasn't been 300 years. It's been a while. And there's very few new things that can be invented. So all of us put our spin on it, but there's nothing new to it. So what I do is basically I just tell people, this is what has worked for me. This is why. This is what hasn't worked for me. This is why. This is how I think about stuff. This is why. If it works for you, great. If it speaks to you, great. I made a point of trying to read 60 books this year. Believe me, not every single one of them speaks to me. And I can't get through some of them because it's just like, dude, I can't think in those terms. It just doesn't work. I know you're saying the same thing as the 3 books before you, but you're saying it differently. But once in a while you come up on a book that regurgitates the same stuff, but there's one word that's different.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's just like the windows to Europe open and I can completely see the entire imagery.
Are you attracted more to the books that are analytical or more towards the books that are like emotional and touchy-feely? I talk about this all the time, like Jim Collins' Good to Great, which is an amazingly well-written book, but one that would put me to sleep. But on the other side of it, Tuesdays with Maury or Move My Cheese or any of those books are like the books that I get pulled towards.
I like either or. It's just a function of how they're written.
Yeah, okay.
And a lot of times I find I like older books, even though the language is difficult. It's different. It's more difficult to get through. But I find that I go back to the original thinkers because just like everything else, like Tony Robbins, just basically it's a collection of everything he reads, right? He just restates differently and people get it and I love it. But he read it somewhere. That's where I want to go. I find that speaks to me, going to the original source. The kind of the original thinkers. For me, that works.
Talk about for a second some of the things that you use on an everyday basis to help you move your business forward. We'll go with the assumption that your but your process of buying, renting real estate works. So let's make that an assumption that is a good system, a good process that you put yourself through. Okay, what are some of the things that help you every day to do what you do so that you can actually benefit from your business? You don't want to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So share some of those things.
Well, okay, that's a really good question. I solve problems with it, right? So let me paint you a picture. So about a year ago, my wife and I decided to move our family from Ohio to Arizona. Okay. There were a number of reasons why we did that. We arrived to Arizona and we're both real estate investors. I'm a real estate investor, cognizant of what is, the cycle is doing in the real estate space in Arizona. First thing is my wife got a license. Okay. Now, again, if you've got somebody listening with 575 credit score trying to figure out how to get their foot in the door, I'll just tell them right now, go get a license.
Okay.
I didn't used to make that advice, but we weren't in the same cycle 5 years ago. Today, depending specifically on the marketplace where you are, getting a license is priceless if you approach it the right way. But beyond that, we had a problem to solve. I should say a challenge to solve, or, where to live. We lived in an apartment. We came to Arizona. We're in an apartment. We're real estate investors. So we have a challenge to solve. What do we do? Well, the first distinction has to be made is that we came to 10x our lives. I'm going to borrow from Cardone. 10x our life, right? Okay. We wanted a bigger house, nicer, granite, nicer travertine, pool in the back, 20 foot. We wanted a nice house just because that's what we came for, right? So first of all, you guys with 575 credit scores, your perspective on finance goes like this. Here's how much money I got in the bank. Based on that, this is what I can afford. This is the surest way to afford shit for the rest of your life.
Right, exactly. Okay, say it again, just so everybody understands. Guys, you have a 575 credit score. You're making your money, you're paying your bills, and that's the cycle that you're in. That is a surefire method to get absolutely shit out of your life, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because you're perceiving everything as scarce commodity, and you don't understand that opportunity is not a competition, it's a process of creation.
Okay.
If you compete, and I'm not stating my own thoughts, this is again from those books I read, competition presumes a limited amount of opportunity that you have to step on somebody's head in order to get.
Right.
Creation presumes an unlimited amount of opportunity because it doesn't exist until you create it.
I don't understand how anybody can go with the idea of scarcity in their mind. It is completely unlimited opportunity. If you don't, nice guy community, if you don't see that there is unlimited opportunity for you out there in the career world, then you're just going to stay. And I'm not saying this in a negative way, but this is the reality of it. If you feel like there is scarcity in your life, there will be scarcity in your life. If you feel like there's opportunity that's unlimited, you're going to build it and make it on your own. But staying at a job that you don't like, getting a paycheck that's barely paying your bills every month, and maintaining a credit score that's under 600 or even under whatever, this is not a dress rehearsal. This is fucking life. Just fix it.
I mean, if you go to church or to synagogue or to mosque and you think that God put you here without ensuring that you have enough opportunity to achieve, that's just nuts.
Yeah, agreed. And I can tell you, Ben is not a religious guy, so he's bringing in God. He's bringing him in, but he's not on the pulpit. He's definitely not a pulpit thumper. I know that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that he's not saying there's divine intervention here. I know that. I know you well enough to say that. Is that okay?
Right. All I'm saying is that if you want it bad enough, and if you know what it is that you want, you'll work hard enough for it and you'll create it. The opportunity is creatable. It's not a competition. It's just, get that out of your mind. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, let's go back to, we arrived to Arizona, we needed a house. Well, I had options. We could have stayed in an apartment, and, I'm not rich enough to stay in an apartment. It's a luxury to just spend money without getting any equity or any cash flow, or, at some point, maybe I'll just do that exactly and just, stay by the ocean over here for 3 months and in the desert over here for 6 months and a lot in the forest, whatever. I just can't afford to do that right now. And so being that unattached is a luxury that I couldn't afford.
Okay.
I could have bought what we call a live-and flip. In other words, it's a house that I fix and flip, but I have to live in there. And, if you get into the semantics, I wouldn't have to pay any taxes as long as I lived in it, capital gains taxes on the sale, as long as I lived in it for a couple of years. And I just didn't want to live in the construction zone for a couple of years. That's just not what I came for. And, to Arizona. I could have bought, which is a traditional kind of a duplex, a triplex, a fourplex, where you move into one unit and you have the 2, 3, 4 tenants, whatever it is, and they're paying for your stay. The problem with that, of course, there's many problems with that, but mostly at the end of the day, I didn't come here to live in a friggin' apartment.
Got it.
At the end of the day. Okay. So but at the same time, I didn't want to pay my stay. Like, I have a little better credit score than 575, but I still didn't want to pay for my stay, and yet I want a really nice house with all the bells and whistles and all that. So
I just want to tell you 850. I got 850 credit score. Just want to tell you that.
Yeah.
just so you know, I was just checking my credit score on Wells Fargo.
That's amazing. Oh, Wells Fargo, don't get me wrong. But that's not here or there.
My mom taught me right. She said, pay your bills on time every time. Don't overextend your credit, and make sure that you are living at your means or just below your means. And I've stayed in that standard, and I've been able to maintain an 800 plus credit score for the last 20 some years. I love it. Wow. Sorry, Ben. Didn't mean to get you. Really I just wanted to, wait a minute, hold on. Just wanted to ring my own bell here.
That's very good. So what we ended up doing was buying a house with, they call it an ADU, attached dwelling unit. They call it casita out here, basically a mother-in-law suite. Yeah. And I remodeled it. I threw that thing on Airbnb, and it's not quite paying for my mortgage, but it's basically paying for might as well be free. But the distinction to be made here is that it's a great house. Yeah. In a great location. It did not require my family to compromise on anything relative to the lifestyle. Now,
did you move from Ohio to Arizona because there was more opportunity for real estate investment in Arizona, or was there another reason?
There is, but no. My children were accepted into what's called Basis Charter School, which is, their Scottsdale location is #1 high school in the nation according to the rankings for a couple of years running. I think if I'm not wrong, they have in the top 10 schools in the nation, they have 5.
So you did it for a reason. I mean, you moved them.
I did it for a reason.
You moved there because you felt there was good educational opportunity for your kids.
There was good educational opportunities for my kids. The real estate opportunities are certainly better out here, I think, for me. And frankly, I grew up in Russia. I lived in the Midwest, and I was just done with the snow. I just want the blue skies, the palm trees.
You went completely the other way. I was out in Tucson, and I was like, it was 120 degrees, and it's like, and it's brown the entire year long. So you went right from the frying pan of cold into the fire of fire.
Yeah. And I'm loving it because, I'll get off this interview and go swim in my pool.
Nice.
Nice. Because I don't have to go to work.
Yeah, I get it.
I have real
estate. I get it. Well, that's your job. Your job is that's it. I mean, that's what you do. So tell me about the, justaskbenwhy.com. If somebody goes there, what is the first thing, if you have somebody that either is interested in finding out a little bit more about how to become a guy that's just getting involved or a girl that's just getting involved, or on the other side of it, if you have an investor that's looking to spend a couple of bucks and know that you have done the first thing you should do is check out Ben's book. Because I got to tell you, oh crap, I lost the name of it. What is it?
House
Hackers. I was checking it out on Amazon. A lot of great reviews. Obviously, a way around this, traditional stuff. It's built into a nice compact process that he's put together. It's been consistently ranked in the top 10 or 15 of real estate books. So it is one that is a book that's getting a lot of attention. And I think that is part and parcel of a way to find a system that you think is going to be good for you is just see what other people are liking.
Well, not only that, but what is very helpful to your audience is that, you gotta walk before you can run, right? And with this particular method, what you are doing is you're buying a primary residence, which means you can qualify with a lower credit score. You can qualify with a lower down payment. There's a lot of advantages to it. So if you're looking for some cash flow, because you realize you're smart enough to know that simply just receiving a W-2 paycheck for the rest of your life isn't going to get you there. This is a great way to start. The cash flow is built in to the strategy, but the barrier to entry is a lot lower because by the banks, by the lenders, you are viewed as a homeowner.
Yeah.
Which is a whole another thing from trying to tell the banks, oh yeah, I'm an investor, I want to invest. The first thing they want to know is, what have you done? And if you haven't done anything, it's difficult to get anywhere. So, buying a home you're going to live in that also encompasses some of the parameters relative to real estate investing and gives you some cash flow. It's a fantastic way to start.
It sounds like a really interesting way to start. Also, a lot different than the Invest Your Money Here programs that are out there. It sounds like this is a great way to get a primary residence, develop some cash flow, and do your thing. Right. Regardless of certainly you're not going to be able to do it if you have a horrible credit score. But just check it out. I think it is worth it a little investigation. And man, what a cool system! What a great story! I mean, what an inspirational story to share on a podcast. I know that you probably have this whole process of going through the podcast. I mean, you've done a bunch. How many have you gone on?
I have no idea, dude.
A lot.
I've been doing this for years and years, and especially when as it relates to real estate, I've been. Yeah,
very cool.
A lot of podcasts.
So if you want to get more information about Ben's program, just go to justaskbenwhy.com. We'll make sure we put a link in the show notes. And any final advice that you have for a nice guy community, Ben?
Just understand that your intellectual worth is what's going to move you forward. Don't be using lack of money as a limitation. Yes, you have to stand on the edge a little bit. Yes, you have to put yourself out. Yes, you're going to be turned down. That comes part and parcel. But understand, your opportunity, you're going to have to create it. Yeah. You are not going to outcompete a guy like me. You have to create your own. Just like I had to create and have every day have to create my own.
We will make sure,
and that's okay.
We'll make sure we put a link in the show notes also to Ben's program, Cashflow Freedom University. It'll be right in the show notes as well. Sorry, Ben, we didn't have time to get into all your entire program and everything, but I know there's a lot of value for what you're offering between the book, your course, your website. So much information. Your blog is great. Just a Nice Guy Community. Just check out his site. We'll make sure we put a link in the show notes for justaskbenwhy.com. And thank you, Ben, for being on the show today and for sharing your message of inspiration and perspiration and monetization as well. Nice job, Ben. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Nice Guy Community, never underestimate the power of nice or the power of real estate either. Special thanks to Ben for being on the show today. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
For the Nice Guys on Business, the only podcast I provide voice for and also actually listen to, I'm Steve O'Brien. Well, that's what I tell them, at least. Listen to the beginning and the end. All the stuff in the middle is just yak, 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 yak.